Hi Lorenzo, my name's Sabrina. I'm a student physical therapist assistant at Owens Community College, and today I'm going to be going over some stretching and strengthening exercises with you. So it looks like you have some lateral epicondylitis in your left elbow and just some general stiffness. So we're going to be doing some stretching and strengthening exercises to hopefully get you a little bit more range of motion, some more strength, and just kind of free up a little bit of that stiffness you're having. So we're going to start with the stretching exercises. The first one that we'll be doing is going to be on the HEP that I sent you, or the home exercise plan. So if you want to pull that up in your email and follow along, feel free. If not, that's okay. We'll go over it a little bit more in depth at the end of this video. So all these exercises I'm going to be completing seated. So I'm actually going to be using like a laptop kind of like lap holder. I recommend that you complete them on like a flat table, just because like using something like this, it can get a little bit uneven and it's a little bit less consistent completing exercises. I'm just going to use this for the purpose of this video, so it's a little bit easier for you to see, and so I can kind of show you different angles of what the motions should look like. So we're going to start with that stretching exercise. So it's going to be a stretching exercise to increase your flexion range of motion. So it looks like your range of motion for flexion, which is kind of this motion, is about 127 degrees. We want it a little bit closer to 150. So we will be stretching your extensors or your triceps, which is the muscle on like the back of your arm, which might be tight, and that's kind of causing you to not have that full range of motion in your elbow. So for this one, all we're going to be doing, so I'm going to be on this flat surface here, just kind of sitting straight up, kind of have my hips in line with my shoulders here, and then you want your elbow just kind of flat on that table. So I'm sure it'll be a little bit painful. If you want, you can use a towel on like a harder surface so it's not as painful resting that elbow on the surface. And so all we're going to be doing is coming up into this flexed position and then just applying a little bit of pressure here. You can apply it up here. Don't apply it to your hand so you're not getting that motion in your wrist. You want it all to come from that elbow. And so you can apply some pressure here. And so you should feel a nice stretch on the back side of your upper arm. And so that's going to be your triceps that will be stretching. And so we're going to do this again. So again, that'll just look like this. And so from this angle here too, so you can see that I'm going straight down and I'm just going straight up. So I don't want to see you coming like in like this or out like this when doing this stretch. So we just want to come kind of like you're trying to bring the palm of your hand to your shoulder. And so that's kind of that motion that we want. So if you feel like you can't do this stretch without kind of bringing your arm in or outwards like that, go ahead and stop. And we'll try something different next time. So it looks like you're needing to increase this motion. It looks like some tools that you use on a day-to-day basis, it's just kind of causing you pain due to that lack of range of motion. So that's why we're going to be stretching those extensors to kind of improve this flexion range of motion. Alrighty, so moving on to the next stretching exercise, we're going to be stretching your supinators. So basically, we're going to be improving your supination range of motion. So we'll be stretching your pronators. And so those are going to be on the top of your arm. So supination is kind of the motion of turning your hand up. So kind of like opening your palm up to the ceiling. So it's just kind of this motion. And so like if I was facing this way, so if I had my palm facing towards you and I want to face it towards me, that's kind of that supination motion. And so for this one, so to stretch this one, you're going to have your hand on a flat surface. And so again, I'm going to be using this. I recommend using a table just because, again, it's a little bit more stable. So it looks like your range of motion is at about 65 degrees. We want it a little bit closer to 80. So again, that's why we'll be working on this today. And so we're going to stretch those pronator muscles, which again are going to be on like the top. So when you're doing this motion, you should kind of feel that kind of on the top, like outside of your arm. And so we're gonna have your hand flat on the surface, and you'll be using your other hand to kind of assist in the stretch. And so we're gonna go into that supinated position, and I just want you to relax your arm, and I want you to use your opposite hand. You're gonna kind of grab at the wrist and just turn. And so you should feel that stretch kind of alongside the front of your arm. And so again, when I'm stretching, I'm kind of gripping the hand here like this. That way I kind of have my hand in neutral, but I'm still gripping at the forearm and not just twisting my hand. So you want to make sure this motion is coming from the elbow. And again, you don't want it coming from the shoulder or the wrist. So make sure when you're doing this motion, you're not kind of moving your arm out like this, and you're not just gripping at the hand and like twisting the wrist. So again, we'll be flat on the table, and I just want you to grip your hand and turn it upwards. And relax. And again, you're going to grab that and turn it with your palm upwards. And so again, that's going to be stretching. So one of your pronator muscles is your pronator teres. So you should feel that stretch in there as well. And so again, that's just going to be on like the top of your arm here. All right. And so we're going to move on to some strengthening exercises. So it looks like we're trying to improve that strength. So for extension, it looks pretty good. You're a 4 out of 5. So we're just going to try and get that to a 5 out of 5. Again, this will be helpful. So it looks like you have some young kids, just kind of like picking them up or even like playing around, and like setting them down. That's kind of this motion. So we want to make sure you have full strength there. Again, it looks pretty good. 4 out of 5 is really good. We just want to get you back to that 5 out of 5. So for this one, you can use a weight. I don't have one. I'm going to use a fairly heavy candle. So you can see it's like halfway empty, about the size of the palm of my hand. And so for this one, it's like reverse dumbbell curls. Oops. So we're going to start in this flexed position. So with that elbow bent, and again, you can have a towel underneath for comfort for this one as well. And so all we're going to do is slowly lower that candle down. And then you can come back up. And if you're having trouble bringing that arm back up with the candle in your hand, once you get down here, you can grab the candle with the opposite hand and then bring that arm back up and place the candle or weight back in your hand. And so again, slowly lower that down. I'm going to grab that out of my hand, move my arm back up, and we'll do that one more time. And so with this one, you notice that I'm not kind of slamming my arm down. It's a nice controlled motion. So if you feel like you're not able to control this and like the weight of whatever you're holding is kind of just dropping your arm down, go ahead and stop. And we'll try something different next time, maybe something just a little bit easier, just so we can really focus on strengthening those muscles. And so that one is going to strengthen the triceps that we had stretched earlier. So this one, when you're doing that motion, you should feel that kind of in the back side of your upper arm. All right. And then the last motion we'll be strengthening is the motion of pronation. So supination we talked about was bringing that palm and facing it up towards the ceiling. So pronation is going to be just the opposite and kind of turning your hand down towards the floor. So again, if I am facing you, this is my pronated position. So if I'm bringing my hand towards if you were the floor, so it's this motion. So again, we're in supination and then pronate my arm, kind of face my hand away from myself. And so this one, again, you're going to be using the assistance of that other hand. So we'll be flat on this surface. And all I want you to do is apply pressure with your opposite hand to like that palm wrist area that we were holding earlier when we were doing our supination stretch. And you're just going to apply some pressure. And all I want you to do is try and turn that hand over. So we're not going to have any motion with this one. I'm just going to apply pressure as if you were trying to turn that hand over. So again, you're trying to turn that arm over and just kind of pushing up into this opposite hand. So again, you're not going to see any motion, but you should feel that on the front side of your arm. Just like when we were doing that supination stretch, you kind of felt that on the front side of your arm as well. We're strengthening those pronators that we had stretched earlier. So again, that's just going to be applying some pressure. So if my hand wasn't there, this is the motion I would be completing. And so again, making sure all that motion is just coming from the forearm and not coming from the shoulder. So none of this, we don't want to see kind of, so from the front, it would look like this. We don't want to see any motion coming from up here. Just want to be flat and kind of turning that hand over. And again, if you're doing this exercise and you feel an increase of your pain, or your pain kind of spreads up into your shoulder, or you just feel like you can't do this without kind of moving at the shoulder, go ahead and stop, and we'll try something different next time. Now, earlier I talked a little bit about your home exercise plan. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that up really quick, just so we can go over it a little bit more in depth if you'd like to follow along as well. So again, that should look like this. And so we'll be going over that just briefly. So we did both of these exercises. It was the first stretching exercise and the first strengthening exercise we did. So the first one is going to be that elbow flexion stretch. So that was kind of going up into this position and you felt that stretch on the back of your arm. So we're going to do 2 sets of that. We're going to do 3 reps, and each one we're going to hold for 10 seconds. And we'll just do this once a day. So it should be a total of 60 seconds that you're getting that stretch on the back of your arm. And then the next one was that extension stretch. So that was the slow motion that I did with the candle. And so this one we'll be doing 2 sets a day, 10 times, and then it's not any holding, so it's just kind of that repeated motion. So it's just that controlled slow motion down, and then grab the weight out, reset your arm, and then that slow controlled motion down again. And we'll just be doing this one once a day as well. So if you're having any issue completing any of these exercises on the home exercise plan, just let me know and we'll kind of tweak them and make it a little bit easier for you to complete. And we just want to try and get back to being able to use those tools and then being able to do things with your young kids. So we're really going to focus on kind of working towards both of those things. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can send me an email, send me a text, however you like to reach me. I check both daily, so I will get back to you as soon as I can. And I look forward to seeing you. Bye.